difficulties. Let's start over. Okay. So thank you everyone for watching the Odoo live webinar. So today we will cover the new government funding that is called the Distance Business Program that aims to help smaller to medium-sized businesses upgrade their IT infrastructure under this pandemic. So my name is Curtis. I'm going to be your host today. I'm a business advisor here at Odoo, and I mainly help companies understand their needs, and I recommend Odoo services to these companies. So this is actually the agenda for today. Obviously, we will go into detail about the Distance Business Program, what it is, how you can benefit from it, and how you can actually apply. We will also talk about how you can use Odoo to apply to this program and how Odoo can actually help your business and how Odoo can actually fit into the whole project scope of this particular funding. Please watch to the very end because we actually have a Q&A session that we save for last. So if you have any questions, you can ask us in the comments below, and you can see similar questions that other people will raise. So the Distance Business Program is actually part of the new anti-pandemic fund that the government is doing currently. Obviously, they are giving out a lot of different funds to help companies to operate under this very substantial crisis. And so this particular funding, it's a little bit different than other fundings in the past. The first major difference is that this funding will actually subsidize 100% of companies who is trying to upgrade their IT infrastructure to be able to operate under the current pandemic. So there are actually a few categories, 12 to be exact, that companies can apply for to upgrade their IT infrastructure to be able to operate in this circumstance. One company can actually apply up to 3 projects under this fund. And each project will have a limit of $100,000, and each company can apply up to 3 projects. So that means you would have a total amount of $300,000 that will be subsidized for the application that will help you in turn to upgrade your IT infrastructure to help with the pandemic. So the other major difference between other funds in the past is that this particular fund actually has a much shorter approval process, right? So the government actually said that in order to help companies to go through this situation, they will actually give you updates and in some cases be able to approve your application within 10 business days. So this is a much shorter application review or update time compared to previous funds that were granted by the Hong Kong government. So another thing that is worth noting is that the government actually wants these companies to be able to implement this new projects within 6 months. Obviously, that is because this particular fund is aiming to help companies to get through this particular pandemic, and hopefully within that time period, companies could relatively quickly adopt to a remote work operation so that they could still continue their business under this circumstance. So who are eligible to apply to this funding? Basically, any companies in Hong Kong that has a valid business registration. So when you actually do apply in the application process, you will see that you would be required to provide certain documents to the government. So the first and most important thing would obviously be your business registration, a valid one. So actually, the government requests that when you actually do the application, your business registration has to be valid at least on the day until the day of the actual application. So you cannot be a listed company or any NGO that is currently being funded by the government. So obviously all of these details would also be listed on the Hong Kong Productivity Council, their official website. So if you have any doubts that, if you are eligible or not, you can obviously visit their website to see. And then another criteria that you would have to have in order to be eligible for this funding is that your business has to be in operation before January of this year, meaning January 1st of 2020. And you would also obviously have to be able to prove that in terms of providing sufficient documents to the government during the application process. You would also have to prove you are having substantive business operation within said period. So the government actually listed a few examples for you to provide in terms of documents, and this could include invoices or bank statements that you have had in the past couple of months. So in terms of the actual fund, when will you actually receive the fund? And we actually have a breakdown for you on the screen. So after you have successfully been approved for the funding, the government will actually give you 30% of the amount that you have applied to the government. So you will receive this 30% amount of 30% into your bank account right away after you are approved. Then you would have to pay the remaining 70% to the IT vendor or vendors that you have chosen. And then after the project is completed within 6 months, you would then report to the government telling them, hey, I have completed the project. Then the government will pay you the remaining 70%. So basically what you would do is you would apply, and then once you would get approved, government pays you 30%. You would pay the remaining 70% to the vendors to make up 100% of the amount. And then after the project is completed, you would notify the government, and then they will pay you the remaining 70%. Okay, so that's how the flow will go in terms of the actual funding. Now, how do you actually turn in an application for the D-Biz program? Is obviously we will first encourage you and recommend you to understand the particular IT infrastructure that you want to upgrade on. Maybe you want to upgrade on your capability to host online meetings with your team. Maybe you want to upgrade your website so then you can also sell products on the website. Like I said, there are actually 12 categories, so I would definitely encourage you to go through those 12 categories and see which categories would actually benefit your company. And then obviously you will need to make sure you have all the necessary documentations for the actual applications. So like I said, you will need documents such as your business registration, you will need past invoices, and also your bank account information. On the Hong Kong Productivity Council website, they actually have a very detailed list of all of the documents that you would need to prepare for the application. So you would definitely need to go to their website and check out that list, and maybe check it off to see which documents that you have already had or are still missing. So the HKPC has actually made it very specific that the only way for you to apply is through their portal on their website. So if you go to their website, you'll actually see a link, and that is the only way for you to apply, which is on their website. So once you submit the application, the portal will actually give you a confirmation number, and you can obviously also save that screen for reference. And what the HKPC has said is that within that 10 business days, you should at least receive a phone call or an email updating you with the progress. So I would definitely encourage you to make sure you pay attention to the phone calls and also your email inbox to make sure that you're getting feedback from the Hong Kong Productivity Council. So once you are approved of the project, you would then work with your IT vendors that you have selected to launch your project. So obviously if you have selected 3 and you have been approved by all 3, then you would work with these 3 IT vendors to make sure that you can complete the project within that 6-month period. And one thing that is also very important that I would like to remind you of is that if the project that you are applying for exceeds 30,000 Hong Kong dollars, you would need to have an independent auditor to audit that particular project. And like the other quotations that you will get, which I would explain later on, is that you would also need to get 2 independent auditors for each IT vendor or project that you are going to apply for. Now, the reason why the government wants you to audit the project is obviously they want to make sure that the amount that they have granted you are actually being spent on the project. So then they would need this authorized auditor to make sure that that is the case. So in terms of the funding scope here at Odoo, basically as you may already know, Odoo is actually a application-based business management software, and we also offer a implementation service. So basically, if you want to apply Odoo for one of your projects, you would then try to see how your business workflow and requirements can fit into the scope of Odoo. You will select the necessary apps for you to do that. Obviously, we will also help you to analyze your workflow to see how you can fit into the Odoo software. And after that, you can select the right implementation service to see how you can implement Odoo successfully and make sure that the software could be set up smoothly. So then obviously it could help your business. And after you have selected all of the necessary component in the Odoo project scope, you could then apply for the D-Biz application. So like I said, there are actually 12 criteria or project scopes that you can look up on the HKPC website. So now I would like to quickly go over some examples of how Odoo can actually fit into those 12 specific categories. Now, Odoo is actually one of the recommended vendors on the list of the HKPC. So you can actually go to the website and see who are the vendors that are being recommended by the HKPC. We actually have a specific reference code for that. And you can look that up on the HKPC Council. Okay, so I think one of the very popular category that a lot of people are inquiring about is number one, which is the online business. In this day and age, a lot of companies want to go online and make sure their presence are known through the internet. So if you want to apply for project number one, criteria number one, this is how Odoo can actually help you. You can use our website, e-commerce, sales, and invoicing applications. And this will already allow you to put your products on the Odoo website. And this will obviously give you basic features such as the shopping cart, maybe abandoned cart, and obviously payment gateways if the customer wants to pay directly online. So all of these is already a part of the online business, which is category one. For category two, which is online order taking and delivery, we also have a inventory application which can help you sufficiently handle your delivery orders to see which customers order what products and how you can effectively make sure that the shipment is going to your customer. And obviously, as you do trading, you would also need to work with suppliers, and you can also use Odoo Purchase to make sure you work with the suppliers and handle all of the purchase orders and all of the vendor information. Third is online customer services and engagement. You can obviously use one of our most popular applications, which is the CRM, which is the customer's relationship management tool that we have to manage customer details, all of their previous information and records, and obviously make sure that your sales team are communicating with the customer to make sure that they do become a paying customer. You can also combine the CRM with things such as social marketing, where you can actually manage your social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn directly in the Odoo backend. So then you don't have to go to different softwares to manage that part of your marketing workflow. So fifth is digital payment. So actually we have capability for you to run a actual retail store or a restaurant. We actually have a point of sale application where you can effectively and quickly sell products in your physical location, but still be able to connect to the cloud, so then you can actually handle all of the back end things such as your sales reports and your product setup directly on the cloud. You can also connect your hardwares into the Odoo point of sale via our IoT box. So if you have a barcode scanner or any printers that you are using already, you can also use the IoT box to connect to the Odoo POS. We also have category 6, which is online and cloud-based financial management system, meaning you can handle all of your accounting or finance-related activities in the Odoo backend, such as any income or expenses that you have incurred, maybe from your sales or your purchases. You can also see different financial reports, such as profit and loss, general ledger, and so forth. So this actually makes it a lot easier for you to handle the finance side of of your workflow within remote settings. Maybe you have different offices, so this will also obviously be very helpful for you. Number 7, category 7, it's a online HR, human resources management system, where you can effectively manage all of your employee information, such as their basic contact details, addresses, phone number, and emails. You can also see things such as paid off leaves, maybe annual leaves, maybe birthday leaves. Your employees can actually directly apply leaves on the Odoo HR system and see how much allocation that they have left. And you can also do recruitment on the Odoo HR, which makes it really easy for you to say, okay, I want to post a job opening on our Odoo website, and then your applicants can actually directly apply on Odoo website. So then you can actually capture all of their, for example, their resumes, their CVs, and their cover letters in the Odoo backend directly. Number 8 is remote document management. So basically you can have a centralized location for your team and also your external partners such as your customers and your vendors to have a location to upload and even download documents. So this makes it really easy for you to organize all of the documents necessary for you to operate your business. And you can share these documents seamlessly and easily within your teams. And obviously this will also help you transform from a traditional paper company into a paperless company. For category 10, we have virtual team management and communications. This will obviously help you to manage your teams and the communication between any collaboration that you have. So imagine if you have a big project that requires a few different teams in your company to collaborate. Instead of using many different communication software such as maybe a messenger, and then maybe you have to call, emails, maybe you have to walk over to your actual coworker to tell them about certain things. You can actually combine all of that into one application here in Odoo. So the project management application can definitely help you with that, and you can even easily manage all of the actual time spent on these specific projects of all of your employees. And as a manager or as an owner, you can really easily manage all of this information in our project management tool. And last but not least, we have category 12, which is almost like a tailor-made, custom-built cloud-based solution, meaning you can come to us and tell us all of your requirements and your specific workflow, and we can actually design a tailor-made software for you, specific features that only fit your company through our Odoo Studio application, and also our very powerful platform, which is called Odoo SH. So this basically allows any sort of developmental work that needs to be done to fit your particular workflow. So I know that this has a lot of information in it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us during the Q&A session in the very end. And obviously, you can always contact me for any additional questions. So, like I said, Odoo is actually a application-based business management software. So all of the examples that I gave earlier are specific examples that we are designing to fit the specific scopes of the D-Biz funding. However, if you want to really talk to us about, if you're not sure how your business or your workflow can fit into any of the 12 categories, you can actually directly talk to us, because we actually have a lot more applications than the ones that we have just shown you. So on the screen, you can see that we actually have a bunch of applications that include sales, finance, operations, even more advanced applications such as manufacturing, human resources, marketing, and even, like I said, customized tools that can help any specific businesses. So if you're unsure about how your business can fit into the scope, definitely I would encourage you to talk to us, so then we can actually guide you and let you know how you can apply successfully. Now, in terms of the implementation support, obviously you can choose to have us help you implement the Odoo software. If you purchase a success pack, we can actually assign you with a project manager that could handle the whole implementation process. So we can actually help you with the specific configurations of the software, and we can make sure that you know how to use the software. We make sure that all of the specific components, such as maybe existing data that you already have, are successfully implemented into the Odoo database. And I think first and foremost, the most important thing is also we will make sure that you can finish the project as soon as possible, because there is a requirement by the government, which is the project has to be completed within 6 months. So if you purchase a success pack, which is going to be part of the funding anyway, we can definitely make sure that the project can hopefully finish between the 6 month duration. So like I said, we will assign you with a project manager. This person is actually a very knowledgeable Odoo functional consultant, which can help you understand how Odoo works. So first, this person will help you understand and analyze your own company workflow, and then they will give you a really systematic breakdown of how the Odoo implementation can actually be conducted. So then we make sure that this could be done in a timely manner. Obviously, we will handle all of the implementation tasks, such as the configuration that I spoke about. Also, if you have any existing data that you want to import into Odoo, this project manager will obviously help you with that. If you have done data importation before, you understand that you would have to make sure all of the fields are correct, all of the format is correct. So this project manager will definitely help you with that. And if any customization is needed, if you are going for the category 12, which is a tailor-made software, then this project manager can also help you with any customization that would be needed to fit into the category 12 project scope. And like I said, Odoo is capable to connect to any existing hardware that you have. For example, if you are using our POS system, then Odoo, the project manager from Odoo, will also help you set up all of the necessary hardware that you would need for your workflow. And then obviously after that, once we make sure everything is okay, then we would have you go live with the Odoo software. So after we have explained how Odoo can fit into the scope of the D-Biz funding, I would like to talk to you a little bit about why you will want to choose Odoo over other software vendors. So number one, like I have mentioned already, we are actually a recommended or listed service provider on the Hong Kong Productivity Council list of vendors on their website. And as you can see, we actually have a reference code already. And if you actually go through the application process, they will actually ask you if the vendor that you are choosing is a recommended vendor. And if you are choosing a recommended vendor, they would ask you for a reference code. Now, from what we understand is that if you have a reference code and if Odoo has successfully been approved of previous projects submitted by other companies, we hope that this will actually speed up the process, because they already know that Odoo is a legit IT provider, and they have actually been approved with a previous case, meaning our software actually fits into the scope of the D-Biz project. So that is actually a very good advantage that Odoo has. Another advantage is there's actually two types of IT service providers that is being a part of the D-Biz funding program. The first one is a subscription-based IT provider, which is what Odoo is basically. These are companies who can provide you a SaaS solution on a subscription base. So it could be a monthly recurring subscription, or it could be a yearly recurring subscription. So basically, these are the companies that are generally easier for the government to approve of, because they understand that there's already a specific system in place. So then you only need to have one quotation when you want to apply the D-Biz program with these type of IT provider. And the second type of IT provider is what the HKPC calls as a system integrator. Now, these are usually vendors that have a more complex scope, and it would take usually a little bit longer for these companies, these IT vendors, to actually implement a software for the companies that are applying. So actually, the government requires two quotations if you want to apply the D-Biz funding with these system integrators. So imagine if you want to go through this process to apply for the D-Biz. If you're using a company like Odoo, you can actually save a lot of time and hassle by only providing one quotation instead of having to go out and actually look for an additional quotation, which could take additional time. All right, and this is very important because there's actually a limited amount of applications that are going to be granted by the government, and obviously the sooner the better for you to have a higher chance of being approved. Now, number 3 is obviously we pride ourselves on the affordability of our solution. If you are going through this D-Biz application, I'm sure you have maybe looked into different IT providers, and you can see that our prices are actually really affordable for the type of scope that we can cover for your workflow. Number 4 is that our solution is actually fully integrated. So all of the specific applications that I've shown you before, for example, if you have a sales order in Odoo, once the sales order is confirmed, things such as inventory and accounting can actually be automatically triggered. So then you don't have to manually update those information anymore. So actually this is a very powerful tool for you to apply to the D-Biz program, because imagine if you want to apply for 3 different projects with 3 different scopes, but with Odoo you can already fulfill all of those scopes within one project, which is, for example, maybe category 12. So then you can free up 2 additional project slots for other IT scopes that you would like to apply on. And the 5th advantage that we have is, like I mentioned before, we can actually assign you with a knowledgeable IT Odoo project manager, which can guide you through the whole process of the implementation. Imagine if you are going for a system integrator, for example, and the scope is actually very big and it's almost close to the $100,000 limit, then you basically have to try to implement or try to make the software work on your own, which sometimes can prove really difficult, and it could maybe even exceed the 6-month duration. Now, for also the last but not least, the Odoo software is actually very unique in the sense that we are off the shelf also, meaning once you already subscribe to Odoo, you can already start using our features right away. So even though the government requires you to finish the project within 6 months, chances are you can even start using Odoo much sooner than that. So one of the things that the government also said that is, if you finish the project earlier than 6 months, you can actually notify the government and tell them that, hey, maybe after 3 months, I've already finished the project. And then obviously you would have to do the audit if it's over $30,000. And then the government would say, okay, since the project has been completed, I will now grant you the remaining 70% of the fund earlier, instead of, granting you the fund after 6 months. So obviously, a lot of companies would like to get that payment as soon as possible. So with a service provider like Odoo, which can complete the project for you relatively soon, that would definitely be a major advantage. So that would basically be all of the subjects that we would like to cover, and we think that are advantageous to you using Odoo to apply to the D-Biz program. Feel free to ask us any questions if you have. So right now, let's go through some of the questions that has been asked already, and let's pick some questions that is on the screen. So let's see what questions we have. So obviously, if you want to really go through in detail about your specific company and your workflow, and maybe you have specific questions on how to apply for the D-Biz program and maybe what happens actually in the actual application process, or maybe what documents I need, you can always send me an email or add me on Skype, and my Skype ID and my email is the same. It's cko@odoo.com. Feel free to drop me a quick email and just connect, and I will be more than happy to maybe have a phone call or set up a meeting with you to really go through all of the processes to make sure that you have all of the necessary information and you are ready to apply for the D-Biz program. So it seems like we don't have any questions right now. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email or add me on Skype. I'll be more than happy to help you. You can always rewatch this live webinar later on. Well, in that case, thank you very much for spending time to see this webinar, and see you later. Thank you.